Tonight, 2 youths charged over a break-in at a Whyalla business. And Port Lincoln to host this year's Regional Hockey Championships.
With the latest from around the region, your nightly news with John Hunt begins now.
Good evening. A Whyalla youth is on the run and 2 others have been charged over a break-in at a Nicholson Avenue business. Police responded to the incident after on-site alarms were activated. Shari Hams has more.
It's here on Nicholson Avenue that police are continuing their investigations into the break-in that occurred around 6:30 on Sunday night. 3 youths tried to gain entry into the business by breaking a window and attempting to steal property inside.
When patrols arrived, a security officer was present with 2 boys who had gained entry to the building by breaking a window.
One suspect fled the scene before officers arrived. The other 2 13-year-old boys from Whyalla Norrie and Whyalla Stewart were arrested and charged
with aggravated serious criminal trespass, theft, property damage and giving a false name to police.
Whyalla's Senior Sergeant is encouraging other businesses to follow suit with implementing security measures.
Obviously invested in security, which helps them, and has managed to minimise damage, and it's also managed for us to identify who was involved so we can take active actions to prevent it occurring again.
The 2 charged are expected to appear in the Whyalla Youth Court mid-October, and police urge anyone with information to contact Crime Stoppers.
And 3 Whyalla residents have been charged with drug trafficking. Police searched a vehicle at Dublin on July 17, allegedly finding around 170 grams of methamphetamine. Detectives then searched a 36-year-old man's Whyalla Norrie home yesterday, allegedly finding more than $3,000 in cash, with police also charging him with unlawful possession of cash. The 3 will appear in court at a later date. The South Australian government is tipping this year's grain harvest to be the best in 2 years. However, for farmers in the mid-north, a dry July has them feeling less optimistic.
Upper mid-north growers are remaining cautious as we reach the end of the year. This year's crop is again in desperate need of a wet spring.
Last year was terrible, certainly for this area, but we're tracking the same way at the moment. We've only had 160 mil here at Bullaroo.
Matthew Nottle says this season's success is on a knife's edge. If they don't receive another downpour in the coming week, it'll be a tough harvest.
Things look all right, but the late stuff is struggling big time. If it doesn't get rain, it won't come to anything.
However, it's a mixed basket across the state, with some areas receiving above average rainfall. The state government is remaining optimistic, with early reports forecasting higher yields than the past 2 years.
We've experienced average to above average rainfall through May, and that's put majority of the state on a pretty good footing.
Mr Whetstone says the government is expecting the state as a whole to record their best figures since 2017.
Early estimates at approximately 7.9 million tonnes, and again we've seen an average planting area of about 3.81 million hectares.
But for the farmers above the Goyder line, they're still waiting for a rainy day. Dominic Beaton, 7 Spencer Golf News.
Member for Giles Eddie Hughes wants a proposed hydrogen facility at Cape Hardy to be built in Whyalla. He says the city has the industrial infrastructure needed to accommodate the project.
A green energy precinct is planned for Cape Hardy, but Whyalla's local MP says it's not the best location for the facility.
We're talking about hydrogen production and all the opportunities that might open up. Whyalla is the logical place.
Mr Hughes says this land around 20 k's from Whyalla is an ideal location, as it can accommodate the infrastructure and has the advantage of being next to an industrial community.
Potentially an ideal site behind us for renewable-based hydrogen and ammonia production, to see if we can do it commercially at scale.
In a statement, the state government says it's the company's decision on where the facility will be built. The local RDA CEO says that suitable ports are also a factor when deciding on these sites.
And in South Australian terms, at the moment, none of our ports are set up, with the capacity.
But the local MP says that Whyalla is best suited as a renewable energy hub.
So we need the government on board, we need the private sector on board, and we need to have a really good look at Whyalla because it's got so many advantages compared to anywhere else in South Australia.
Shari Hams, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
Port Augusta Council has begun repairing garden beds and replacing street signs as part of its city beautification program. The council says they're aiming to make the town more attractive to both locals and tourists.
It's an issue the community has demanded be fixed, and now the council is taking action to polish the jewel of the north. Port Augusta Council's beautification plan is starting to move forward this week.
Just brightening up the aspect of our city and getting people to come and have a look around the state.
Works have now commenced relaying flower beds.
They are flowering between August and November, and then when they do die off, they reseed.
As well as updating ageing street signs towards the shacks.
Try to make it more inviting when people come through and more easier to find places and do things.
Tidying up amenities around the CBD and outer suburbs was flagged as one of the council's highest priorities in its latest budget, bankrolling the improvements to the tune of more than $300,000.
Well, we've got such an arid climate that we should be displaying that and promoting that.
Steam cleaning of the grimy CBD footpath is next on the agenda, but the timeline is still unknown. The Ratepayers Association were not available for interview, but say its members are supportive of any improvements to the town, as long as the money is being well spent. Garth Burley, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
Still to come tonight, tourism and roads a focus of Port Pirie Council's business plan, and Port Lincoln to host the regional hockey championships. Welcome back. Port Pirie Regional Council has hit the road to spruik its new business plan. Tourist facilities and roads are set for extra investment to the tune of $5 million.
Some extra love for Port Pirie surrounds. The local council is eyeing off some major projects in its 3-year business plan.
So the 3 major projects we're looking to investigate this year are all around trying to get more population, more people to come to our areas.
Opening up the Southern Flinders Ranges to new tourism opportunities is high on the agenda.
We're looking to see whether there's opportunities for walks and bike tracks in the gorges, and also wanting to have a discussion with Bowman Park.
Hosting more events on Port Pirie's waterfront is also a priority.
How do we get more outcome from a tourist potential for our riverfront precinct, our riverfront area?
Council members toured the region to conduct public consultation. They visited a number of towns in the district, gathering ratepayers' views on the document.
We decided to take it to the streets. We took it to Crystal Brook, Kalunga, Red Hill, out to Nampabee.
Additional funding will also be allocated to the region's roads, including the rebuild of bridges and shouldering on a number of street edges.
We've also got a plan of fixing some sealed roads, some more kilometres of that. This is about $5.5 million that we'll be spending in the region.
Dominic Beaton, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
Port Lincoln Primary School has held its opening night for its annual Performing Arts Festival. More than 400 students came together as part of the National Wakakiri storytelling event.
It's a distant future where air pollution and toxic waste has destroyed our land. This is one of the stories being told as part of this year's Wakakiri event.
So Wakakiri is about telling stories, and it's telling stories through dance and movement, and children actually choose their stories that are relevant to them and they portray them on stage.
For the first time, Port Lincoln Primary School is hosting its performances as a festival, the only one to be held in South Australia.
We were enrolled in the Screen Challenge, which is for rural communities, but because we do it on stage, they've given us the status of having our own festival. So we have an entry into as a national finalist.
The festival encouraging students to write stories on issues they find important. Year 5 student Ruby Wolford is telling the story of the moon landing.
Our class decided on it because we were learning about space and science, and we thought it would be a good idea.
It's a timely reminder as this year celebrates 50 years since the event.
It's really great to be able to take part in something like this.
Each night will celebrate different stories with over 450 students taking part.
They've been working back at school, and you could wander through our school and there's props being made and costumes being made and students getting ready and very excited.
The festival runs for 3 nights. Nathan Regter, 7 Spencer Golf News.
Preparations are already underway for this month's Silver City show, with organisers launching a new website. BrokenHillShowtime.com will help locals register for competitions, find showtimes and book stalls. Organisers say there's something for everyone. The event will be held from the 21st to the 22nd of September. Hundreds of hockey players will head to Port Lincoln next month, with the city hosting the Country Championships. Former Hockey Roos star Anna Flanagan will make an appearance at the event.
It's hockey fever around the region with the finals just around the corner. Teams are currently battling it out on the field, trying to secure their place in this year's regional championship.
It's been a really good competition this year. I think all the clubs have got some teams up there and about the place in different grades, so I've really enjoyed it, and I think the kids as a whole have had a really good season.
Teams all over Country SA are set to travel to Port Lincoln for the regional championship, this year welcoming a special guest appearance from one of the game's top players.
Saturday night we'll have basically on the couch with Anna Flanagan, ex-Hockey Roos player, so she'll be here to watch some of the games on Saturday afternoon and obviously meet some of the kids.
It's the second time this year Port Lincoln's hosted a hockey star, with Olympian Kieran Goverts visiting back in July. The athletes helping promote and support their sport in regional communities.
When you've got that exposure to top level players, you can see what can be achieved if you dedicate yourself and apply yourself to your sport. It's really good for kids to recognise that the potential is there to develop.
The regional championship will kick off next month, with the junior grand finals being played this weekend. Nathan Regter, 7 Spencer Golf News.
Stay with us. After the break, we'll take a look at the local soccer, netball and tennis results. And Britt will have the latest weather forecast. Hello again. South captain Mark Purcell is Broken Hill's top footballer, winning the Lionel Johnston medal for the second time. The women's Jan Corey medal count also went down to the final rounds.
By 1 vote, Mark Purcell took home LJ. With well over 200 in attendance, the Lionel Johnston Medal Night honours the best of Broken Hill footy, from the junior girls and Auskickers to life memberships and volunteers.
When we started this night some 20 years ago, we had A grade, reserve grade and under 18s. We've now got 15s, 13s, we've got a women's competition, youth girls and the Auskick program.
North's Rebecca Deere won the Jan Corey medal with 20 votes. West's Phoebe Nell was second on 19. The Bulldog midfielder not expecting to poll so well.
The competition this year has been so fierce with all the girls out there, and to be honest it's such a huge honour and surprise myself, yeah.
South's Tyler McKenzie was named Best Under 18. West's Leighton Raven was reserved Best and Fairest. When the count for the Lionel Johnston medal began, it was a clear 2-horse race, Kelly or Purcell. In the final round, Purcell snagged one more point to win the night.
It's great to be able to get that consistency, and mainly thanks to my workplace. So they allow me to play every game, which obviously makes this good, along with my teammates and everyone like that. So
the Whyalla Football League also held their Best and Fairest awards last night. Central's Nick Sims won the Whyalla News medal with 21 votes. Patrick Reinke, 7 Spencer Golf News.
Time now for a look at all the latest sports results from around the region. In Port Augusta, St Joseph's sealed its place in the netball grand final after edging out the reigning premiers in a tight affair. Garth Burley has the details.
St Joseph's have lost only one match all season, and Saturday was no exception. The side fighting off a competitive Railways team to win the match by 6 goals. St Joe's are now the odds-on favourites for the grand final in 2 weeks' time. In the other match, Vikings cruised through their semi-final against Magpies. In Whyalla, Kiwi have been crowned A-grade champions after scraping over the line in a heart-in-mouth showdown against YCW. Further down the highway in Port Lincoln, Wayback were too strong for Imperial, and Souths United walked off the court winners against Wanilla Rangers. In the northern areas, Broughton Mundura edged out Southern Flinders in a thriller to book their spot in the grand final. Flinders have one last chance to join them when they play Orroroo in this week's prelim. On the York Peninsula, CMS Crows scored 66 goals in their semi-final victory over Kadina, becoming the first side into the decider in 2 weeks' time. In Pirrie, Blue Wren has made it back-to-back premierships, with Kirby Simon starring in her side's 19-point victory over SM Celtic. In Broken Hill, St Joe's were pipped by a goal in the dying seconds against West Flames Black. Staying in Broken Hill for soccer, where West racked up 8 goals against Alma thanks to a hat-trick from Jordan Cox, and Celtic had a 2-goal win over St Joe's. In Lincoln, South Coast has secured its first league title in 4 years, with 1 round still to play, after storming past Seacole Masters 5-1, and Knights beat City Raiders in the derby. In the Steel City, Lions thrashed Croatia, and Westlands found the back of the net late to defeat Steel United 1-0. And finally, a quick look on the tennis court, wins to serves and topspins, while volleys narrowly beat smashes by 8 games after both sides were locked at 3 sets each. A good mix of sports there, and remember, if you have local results that you'd like featured here on 7 Spencer Golf News, drop us a line at localsport@sca.com.au.
And with a look at what's happening in the weather, here's Britt.
Good evening. It's been a warm and dry day about the region. Broken Hill and Port Augusta both reaching a top of 29 degrees, Whyalla 24, Port Pirie 23, Port Lincoln 19 and Adelaide a top of 18 degrees. Taking a look at the satellite, with cloud and fog clearing through the morning, a high pressure system keeping skies fairly clear. Moving ahead to tomorrow now on the Gulf waters, we can expect northerly winds tending northwesterly at 10 to 15 knots with seas at 1 metre. It's looking mostly fine with possible showers about the lower Eyre Peninsula, maximum still sitting up to 7 degrees above average in parts of the region. Broken Hill looking at a top of 30 degrees, Port Augusta and Corn 27, Woodner and Port Pirie 24, Whyalla 22, Clare and Cleve both 20, Kadina 19, Port Lincoln 18, Coffin Bay and Adelaide 17. Moving further ahead through the week now, with showers expected at Port Lincoln on Thursday, rain on Friday ahead of a cloudy start to the weekend. Cleve and Woodner both looking fine and partly cloudy on Thursday, showers on Friday, fine again on Saturday. Much the same at Whyalla with partly cloudy conditions Thursday and Saturday, showers expected on Friday. Port Augusta remaining fine and partly cloudy through the week, Kadina expecting strong winds and rain on Friday. A fine day for Port Pirie on Thursday with showers on Friday. Clare looking fine Thursday, rainy Friday with a cloudy start to the weekend. And finally to Broken Hill with a sunny day expected on Thursday, looking fine and partly cloudy Friday and Saturday. And John, that brings us to the end of the forecast, so it's back to you.
Thanks, Britt, and that's the local news this Tuesday evening. Thanks so much for joining us. I'll have some updates later in the evening, but until then, enjoy your evening here on 7. On behalf of the team, it's good night.